For 30 years, the true story of Jerry Garcia has been kept under wraps. The legendary Grateful Dead frontman was known for his music, but rumors hinted at deeper, hidden struggle. Now, his daughter Trixie is breaking her silence with shocking truths that paint a different picture. What was it really like being the daughter of such a rock icon? And how did Jerry's private battles shape his family's life? Trixie's words are both heartbreaking and revealing, showing us the person behind the fame. Jerry Garcia's life and legacy. It has been 30 years since the world said goodbye to Jerry Garcia, one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century. On a quiet day, August 9th, 1995, Garcia passed away in his room at a rehabilitation clinic where he was seeking help for his struggles. The official cause of death was a heart attack, but his body had already been weakened by years of substance abuse, diabetes, heavy smoking, and sleep apnea. It seemed that the lifestyle that contrasted with his great talent finally took its toll. Phil Lesh, Garcia's longtime bandmate, expressed his grief, saying, "I was struck numb. I had lost my oldest surviving friend, my brother." The sadness was shared not only by those closest to him, but by millions of fans who felt connected to his music. Jerry's funeral took place just a few days later, on August 12th, at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in Belvedere, California. It was a small, private gathering attended by family, his Grateful Dead bandmates, and friends like Bill Walton and Bob Dylan. The day of Jerry Garcia's funeral was not without drama. His widow, Deborah Coons, made the difficult decision to prevent two of his former wives from attending, a reminder of the complicated personal life he left behind. Yet, Jerry's impact on music and culture is undeniable. As the lead guitarist and vocalist of the Grateful Dead, he pioneered a unique improvisational rock style that captured the spirit of an era. The band's endless jam sessions, free-spirited performances, and their devoted Deadhead following left a legacy that continues to thrive. Even today, Jerry's music remains alive, and his influence is felt everywhere. But, like many great artists, there was more to his story than what met the eye. Recently, his daughter, Trixie Garcia, has stepped into the spotlight to share her personal memories, revealing sides of Jerry's life away from the stage. From childhood stories to the challenges of addiction and fame, Trixie's reflections give depth to the story we thought we knew. She talks openly about the difficulties of growing up with a father adored by millions, but often absent at home. The man who commanded the stage was, at times, fragile behind closed doors, fighting battles no one could truly understand. Before diving into what Trixie revealed, let's take a step back and look at Jerry's journey, the highs, the lows, and everything that made him who he was. Jerry Garcia's early life. Born on August 1st, 1942, in the Excelsior district of San Francisco, Jerry Garcia entered the world as Jerome John Garcia, named after the renowned composer Jerome Kern. His parents, Jose Ramon Joe Garcia and Ruth Marie Bobby Clifford, were deeply connected to music. Jerry's father was a retired professional musician, and his mother had a love for playing the piano. This musical atmosphere sparked Jerry's early passion for music. But life wasn't easy for young Jerry. His family background was one of hard work and resilience, shaping the man he would become. Just before Jerry's older brother, Clifford, was born in 1937, their father, Joe Garcia, leased a building in downtown San Francisco with a partner and turned it into a bar. This move came after Joe was blackballed by the Musicians Union for taking side gigs, pushing the family into a new path that mixed the challenges of business with the memories of a musical past. Jerry was raised in a Catholic household and went to church regularly with his family. However, music always seemed to pull at him more deeply. Life took a tragic turn when Jerry was just 4 years old. In 1946, while on a vacation in the Santa Cruz Mountains, an accident happened that changed him forever. While playing with Clifford, 2/3 of Jerry's right middle finger was cut off in a wood-splitting accident. Instead of letting this define him, young Jerry learned to embrace it, often showing it off to the neighborhood kids. It was one of many challenges that would build the resilience he'd carry throughout his life. A year later, another tragedy struck. During a family fly fishing trip near Arcata in Northern California, California, Jerry's father drowned in the Trinity River. Jerry later claimed to have witnessed the accident, though some close to him thought he may have formed this memory from hearing the story repeated over time. Whether or not he was there, the loss of his father left a deep, lasting impact on him. After Joe's passing, Jerry's mother, Ruth, took full control of the bar, immersing herself in work to support the family. She sent Jerry and his brother to live with their grandparents, Tilly and William Clifford. Living with his grandparents brought Jerry a sense of freedom he hadn't felt before. For 5 years, he stayed with them while his mother focused on the family business. During this time, Jerry's interest in art began to grow, thanks to encouragement from his third-grade teacher at Monroe Elementary School. His teacher at Monroe Elementary opened Jerry's eyes to creativity, planting the first seeds of what would later become a brilliant musical career. Yet, music was always playing in the background of his life. His grandmother, who had emigrated from Spain, loved singing at family gatherings. While his brother Clifford denied that she listened to country music on the radio, Jerry would often say she introduced him to bluegrass and country tunes. Whether it was reality or just his imagination, around this time, Jerry picked up the banjo for the first time, starting his journey with stringed instruments, a moment that would define his future in music. By 1958, Jerry was a student at Balboa High School, but school wasn't easy for him. He often got into trouble, skipping classes and getting into fights. In 1959, his mother moved the family to Cazadero, a quiet town in Sonoma County. Jerry wasn't happy about the move, as it meant a long 30-mile bus ride to Anali High School in Sebastopol. Even though he resisted this change, music became a source of comfort for him. He joined a local band called The Chords, and they won a contest that gave them the chance to record a song. They recorded Raunchy by Bill Justice, unknowingly starting Jerry Garcia's journey into what would become a legendary career in music. That simple recording with The Chords was just the beginning of a long, winding road to becoming a music icon. So how did these early days shape the man who would lead one of the most influential bands of the 20th century? A life-changing moment. By the time Jerry turned 19, his life was already filled with twists and challenges. In 1960, he found himself in serious trouble after stealing his mother's car. Instead of facing jail time, he was given an unexpected option: join the U.S. Army. This decision became a turning point, though not in the way you might think. Jerry completed basic training at Fort Ord and was stationed at Fort Winfield Scott in San Francisco's Presidio. However, he was far from being an ideal soldier. Most of Jerry's time in the Army was spent goofing off, and he often skipped roll calls, going AWOL multiple times. It didn't take long for those choices to catch up with him. By December 14, 1960, he was given a general discharge, a not-so-glamorous end to his short military journey. But if you think life calmed down for Jerry after that, you'd be wrong. By January 1961, Jerry was back on the road, heading to East Palo Alto to meet up with Laird Grant, an old friend from middle school. He had bought a 1950 Cadillac sedan from an Army cook he knew, but the car barely survived the trip to Laird's place before breaking down. At this point, Jerry's life was as unstable as ever. He was essentially living out of his car, crashing at friends' places whenever he could. Life felt directionless, but change was just around the corner. Laird introduced Jerry to Dave McQueen, which opened up new opportunities. Dave took Jerry to a place called the Chateau, a lively rooming house near Stanford University. The Chateau was full of creative spirits and quickly became a haven for Jerry. Amid the energy and vibrant people, Jerry started playing blues for small gatherings, enjoying the growing musical scene. But soon, a life-altering accident would shake his world. On the night of February 20th, 1961, Jerry and some friends decided to go for a joyride. The driver, Lee Adams, pushed the car to a reckless 90 miles per hour as they took a sharp curve near the Palo Alto Veterans Hospital. What happened next was inevitable. The car smashed into a guardrail, flipped, and rolled over violently. Jerry was thrown out of the car with such force that he flew through the windshield and landed in a nearby field. The crash was so intense that his shoes were left behind in the car. Miraculously, Jerry survived with only a broken collarbone. Sadly, his friend Paul Spiegel wasn't as fortunate. Trapped inside the wreck, Paul suffered fatal injuries and did not survive. This horrific accident became a major turning point for Jerry. He would later say it felt like the moment his real life began, noting, "That was the slingshot for the rest of my life. It was like a second chance." The crash left him shaken, but also sparked a determination to live with more purpose. From then on, Jerry committed himself wholeheartedly to his music. He understood that if he wanted to make something of himself, he needed to stop drifting and start working toward his passion. This realization drove him to fully embrace the guitar. While Jerry had always enjoyed drawing and painting, music now became his main focus. This tragic experience shifted his mindset and put him on the path that would shape the rest of his life. What he didn't know was that this dedication would soon lead to the formation of the Grateful Dead, a band that would leave an everlasting impact on music, the beginning of the Grateful Dead. After these life-changing events, Jerry Garcia took his love for music to the next level. He became the driving force behind the Grateful Dead, taking on the role of lead guitarist, one of the main vocalists, and a primary songwriter. From their start in 1965 until Jerry's passing in 1995, the Grateful Dead won over millions of fans with their unique mix of rock, blues, and improvisational jams. But what was it that made Jerry and the band stand out? Let's explore why their music became legendary. Jerry's influence on the band was unmistakable. He was responsible for crafting some of the most iconic songs in rock history. Tracks like Uncle John's Band, Dark Star, Franklin's Tower, and Scarlet Begonias were just a few of Jerry Garcia's iconic creations. These songs weren't just catchy, they became anthems that embodied the free-spirited, experimental sound of the Grateful Dead. But Jerry didn't create this magic alone. His songwriting came alive with the help of Robert Hunter, a close collaborator who wrote lyrics for many of Garcia's songs. Together, Jerry and Robert made music that was poetic, thoughtful, and deeply personal. One of Jerry's unique qualities was his approach to playing the guitar. He was known for long, soulful solos that felt like stories, weaving through the band's rhythm like a conversation. The Grateful Dead had a special way of performing where they never played a song the same way twice. Imagine going to a concert and hearing your favorite song performed in a completely new way each time. That was the kind of magic they brought to their audience. Jerry's solos were spontaneous, yet stayed true to the core of the song's melody, just explored and broken up in different ways. Interestingly, Jerry didn't work alone when it came to his solos. He took cues from the other members, especially rhythm guitarist Bob Weir. Jerry often said that Bob had a rare ability to build harmonic bridges between instruments, which was vital, given the innovative bass lines of Phil Lesh and the band's dual drummers. Jerry would follow Bob's harmonies, using them as a launchpad for his own creative riffs. Their connection made for an incredible, one-of-a-kind musical chemistry. But being in the Grateful Dead wasn't just about studio recordings. The band was known for their non-stop touring, performing an astonishing 2,314 shows over their 30-year career. That's a lot of concerts, but it wasn't always smooth sailing. The endless touring took a serious toll on Jerry's health, especially as he dealt with drug addiction over the years. Sometimes the band had to pause for a break due to exhaustion or health problems, but they always managed to return to the stage. For the Grateful Dead, live shows were their true home. The energy and freedom of performing live were where they shined the most. Their fans, known as Deadheads, would follow them from city to city, knowing that each concert would be different from the last. This raises an important question. How did Jerry Garcia handle the ups and downs of his life with the Grateful Dead? What did he do when he wasn't on stage? And what new insights has his daughter shared? Stick around to find out. Exploring music beyond the Grateful Dead. Jerry Garcia was much more than just the lead guitarist of the Grateful Dead. He was an artist who constantly sought new musical experiences. While the Grateful Dead was a massive part of his life, Garcia also created and joined several side projects that highlighted his range and talent. These projects let him work with other gifted musicians and experiment with different styles of music. One of his most famous collaborations was with his friend Merle Saunders. Together, they formed the Saunders-Garcia Band. blending rock, jazz, and blues in a way that let Jerry push his guitar skills to new level. Their performances were filled with the same improvisation and energy that Deadheads cherished at Grateful Dead shows. Jerry also led the Jerry Garcia Band, which had a more relaxed feel compared to the Grateful Dead. This group focused on rhythm and groove, showing a different side of Jerry's musical personality. The Jerry Garcia Band gave Jerry the chance to highlight his vocal skills and explore songs that weren't typically featured in the Grateful Dead set list. This band's music ranged from soulful ballads to upbeat rock songs, revealing the wide range of Jerry's musical inspirations. One of his more interesting side projects was Old and In the Way, which he co-founded. This group was all about bluegrass and included a lineup of talented musicians. They combined traditional bluegrass sounds with Jerry's unique touch, leading to vibrant performances that became a key part of the bluegrass revival of the 1970s. Fans appreciated how Jerry introduced this classic genre to a new and wider audience. Jerry also loved smaller, more intimate collaborations. His work with David Grisman in the Garcia-Grisman duo was a perfect example, focusing on acoustic music that blended elements of folk, bluegrass, and jazz. This partnership highlighted Jerry's melodic improvisation and storytelling through song. Another notable acoustic pairing was with Tony Rice in the Garcia-Khan duo, where their jamming sessions produced beautiful, heartfelt music. Jerry's involvement in the Legion of Mary band showcased his experimental side as the group mixed rock, jazz, and funk to create exciting, genre-bending performances. Lastly, Jerry co-founded New Riders of the Purple Sage with John Dawson and David Nelson. This band brought a strong country flavor and often featured Jerry's distinct guitar playing, adding another layer to his diverse musical career. Jerry's music revealed many influences that shaped him throughout his life, and his various bands showcased his versatility and passion. Alongside these projects, Jerry released several solo albums that allowed him to share a more personal side of his music. These albums often had an introspective quality, giving fans a glimpse into his thoughts and emotions. Beyond his own work, Jerry was a sought-after session musician, lending his unique guitar style to albums by other artists. His contributions added a special touch and highlighted his impact across the music industry. His skill was widely recognized. In 2003, Rolling Stone ranked him 13th on their list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. His legacy only grew over time, securing him the 34th spot in the 2023 update of the same list. His improvisational style and distinctive playing continued to inspire musicians for years. However, behind the brilliance on stage, Jerry Garcia faced significant personal challenges. His life, filled with triumphs and creative highs, was also marked by struggles. He navigated complex relationships and health issues that were often hidden from the public eye. In his personal life, Jerry experienced a series of relationships, some marked by turbulence. He married 3 times and had several children, each bringing moments of joy and challenge. Balancing his life as a father with the non-stop demands of a touring musician was difficult. His relentless schedule and the pressures of fame often strained his marriages and made it hard for him to be present at home. Yet, despite these challenges, Jerry loved his children deeply and made an effort to spend meaningful time with them whenever possible. As Jerry continued touring and making music, his health began to suffer. His relationship with drugs, which had started as a way to manage the pressures of fame and the relentless schedule of touring, turned into a serious addiction that deeply impacted his well-being. What once provided temporary relief became a dangerous cycle that affected his mind and body. Over time, Jerry's health steadily worsened due to his lifestyle. One of his most significant challenges was diabetes, which he struggled to control. In the late 1970s, a severe scare came when he slipped into a diabetic coma. This life-threatening experience served as a moment of realization for Jerry. It became clear that if he wanted to continue performing and pursuing his passion for music, he needed to take better care of himself. Despite facing these difficulties, Jerry managed to find moments moments of balance where he could prioritize his health and sobriety. During these times, he reconnected with his love for music, leading to some of his most inspired work. Yet, maintaining this balance was tough, and periods of recovery were often followed by relapses, creating a difficult cycle of ups and downs. The emotional burden of dealing with addiction and health issues took a heavy toll on him. Throughout all of this, Jerry's passion for music and his spirit shone through. He had an extraordinary ability to transform his personal struggles into art that resonated with people. His music often reflected his battles, touching listeners and offering them comfort through his honesty and vulnerability. As the years went by, fans started to see the true person behind the music. Each performance carried the weight of his experiences, and every song conveyed the raw emotions he felt. This deep connection made Jerry's performances unforgettable and showed the world the man behind the legend. As time passed, the impact of Jerry Garcia's lifestyle became more evident. His health struggles and battle with addiction weren't just private issues. They were part of a larger story that his fans could sense but never fully understand. Trixie's insights, the reality of rockstar parenting. One of the most eye-opening moments came when Trixie Garcia spoke openly about her father's parenting. At his funeral, she surprised many by describing him as a shitty father. While that statement may sound harsh, Trixie has since provided more context, explaining that her love for Jerry was deep and layered, despite his failings as a parent. Trixie shared memories of phone calls with her father when he would drift off mid-conversation due to his heroin use. She would wait patiently for minutes until he woke up and picked up where they left off. The demands of constant touring and the lifestyle of a rock icon meant that Jerry was often away, missing out on the everyday moments of being a father. Trixie has spoken about wanting more time with her dad, a wish that went unfulfilled due to the Grateful Dead's relentless schedule. However, she also points out that when he was present, their relationship was filled with warmth and a deep friendship. Trixie called him her best friend and companion, underlining the closeness they shared despite the challenges. Even with the difficulties, Trixie reflects on their bond with a sense of gratitude. She acknowledges that while Jerry's fame and lifestyle often kept him from being a consistent figure in her life, the moments they had together were genuine and treasured. Their connection, though unconventional, was special and meaningful. Whether it was sitting backstage at concerts, having quiet conversations, or simply enjoying moments together, these times created cherished memories for Trixie. Despite his imperfections, Jerry brought a sense of magic to her life. Trixie often found comfort in his music, which became a bridge to connect with his heart. The shadow of addiction. One of the most persistent topics surrounding Jerry Garcia was his battle with drug addiction. Trixie's recent comments have confirmed what many had long believed. Jerry's heroin use and other substance issues were a significant struggle throughout his life and career. Trixie shared a powerful moment when she confronted her father, asking, "Dad, what's the story? Why do you feel like life has so little to offer that you have to do this?" His response, "I can't go outside. I'm recognized now," highlighted the pressure and challenges of fame that contributed to his reliance on drugs. Jerry's addiction had far-reaching effects, impacting not just his family but also his fans. Trixie described seeing young fans at Grateful Dead shows, some as young as 15 or 16, zombied on drugs. These scenes were a stark reminder of the dangers of substance abuse and served as a warning that influenced Jerry's children to take a different path for the next generation. One of the most compelling parts of Trixie's story is how she and her siblings chose to live their lives differently from their father. Despite Jerry's casual jokes about drugs, his daughters made a conscious decision to avoid that lifestyle. Trixie and her sisters learned from the harsh realities they witnessed, making deliberate choices to steer clear of addiction. Annabelle Garcia, another of Jerry's daughters, shared how watching older fans burn out and seeing younger ones struggle with substance abuse reinforced their decision. They wanted to avoid the hardships they had seen their father endure and chose a path that honored his legacy without repeating his mistakes. The Garcia daughters have carved out their own paths, often in creative fields, but without the excess that marked their father's era. Trixie, for example, has taken on the role of managing Jerry's estate and spearheading exciting projects like the Garcia hand-picked cannabis brand. Her approach honors the family legacy from a business standpoint rather than following in her father's footsteps as a performer. This choice to diverge from Jerry's lifestyle is not a rejection of his memory or influence. Instead, it reflects a thoughtful understanding of his complex legacy. The daughters speak fondly of their father, holding deep love and admiration for him while also being honest about the difficulties that came with his life choices. The enduring impact of Jerry's music. One of the most remarkable parts of Jerry Garcia's legacy is the lasting power of his music. Trixie has shared how her father's songs continue to resonate with people, drawing in both longtime fans and newcomers. She points out that the timeless nature of the Grateful Dead's music has allowed it to cross generational boundaries, reaching listeners who were not even born during the band's most active years. Trixie and her family have actively worked to preserve and celebrate Jerry's musical influence. They have been involved in projects that bring new life to his work, from remastered versions of classic Grateful Dead albums to modern interpretations by contemporary musicians. Trixie has often spoken about the healing power of her father's music, sharing how fans recount moments of profound emotional connection during Dead shows. To her, these stories are a testament to the depth and authenticity of Jerry's artistry, despite his personal struggles. Managing the legacy of someone as influential as Jerry Garcia is no small feat, and Trixie has embraced this role with a mix of respect and creativity. She has played a key role in finding innovative ways to keep her father's music and art alive while ensuring his memory is honored. One standout project has been the launch of the Garcia hand-picked cannabis brand. This venture not only reflects Jerry's known fondness for marijuana, but also promotes responsible and thoughtful use. For Trixie, it's not just about making money off her father's name. Her goal is to create products and initiatives that stay true to Jerry's value and the spirit of the Grateful Dead community. Now, we want to hear from you. How do you think Jerry Garcia's legacy has evolved over the years since his passing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.